What the deal is? What's up, y'all? It's your boy Leo Savage here with another episode 2 of Flow the Fuck Down. Guys, today we have the amazing, the talented, the Ben Walker. Let's think of all people named Walker who are awesome. Walker, Texas Ranger. Luke Skywalker. Ah, yes, the force is strong with this one. Guys, this is a fun episode. We dive deep. We ask Ben a couple questions that are controversial. Hey, you guys know the deal. Like, share, subscribe. I did that whole thing with the hair on my tongue. Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. It's Built by Ben. Ben, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm psyched.
So, hey, that's not your real name.
No, Ben Walker is my actual name. If you see me in real life, just call me Ben. All that's good.
Ben works. I always liked the name Built by Ben, right? You and I, we got into like identity building and affirmations, and looking back at your name, it's like it's very purposeful into like what we're doing. It's really neat to go through like a course like the Strong Coach, which I hope to talk about, and it not totally change your identity. You're still Built by Ben, and Built by Ben to me means you're a coach. True or false?
Oh, absolutely. It actually came. I mean, like you said, it has gotten. I've noticed deeper levels to that name the more I've grown in my coaching. And it started out as I was doing a show. I got certified as a trainer, and one of the guys in the cast was like, I want you to train me. You're going to Built by Ben. That's you. Just like off the cuff.
Cool.
That was his thing. And it was
somebody
something as simple like, well, I'm building people. Yeah, he was Sam Shirtliff. He was playing Cogsworth while we were in the national tour of Beauty and the Beast. My first client. And he said, Built by Ben. And
your very first client.
Yeah.
And he was in theater with you, or like a production of some type?
Yeah. We right after I graduated college, I went on tour for 2 years with the national tour of Beauty and the Beast. So basically the cartoon movie from 1991 on stage. And this guy was playing Cogsworth, and we were on the tour for the whole 2 years together. And midway through the first year, I passed my personal trainer certification, and he almost immediately after asked to train me.
You toured for 2 years in Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. I was a dancing knife.
For 2 years.
For 2 years, I was a baker. I was a gargoyle. I was a dancing knife. I was a butter knife. That's what I said. And then I was a wolf's butt. And then if the Beast or Gaston got sick, I would go on for them.
You know what? I don't think you were any of those things. I think you are still those things.
Oh yeah. There's
You're definitely a dancing
all those characters.
I mean, hey Ben, I asked the Mace community. I said, who do you guys want to learn about next, and what do you want to ask them? And a lot of people brought up your history in acting, and so naturally, that's kind of where we started. And hey, I'm going to bring up a picture, and just to jog your memory, and just tell me what you think. Ben, who the fuck is that guy?
Well, that's a guy who wants to travel the country playing Gaston and Beauty and the Beast all the time.
Ben, you're sexy, man. Ladies, all right, listen, the Ben's tooken, all right? But let's just all take a moment. I know personally, the screen is on large. I'm going to get really close to you, Ben. Yes, this is me very close to your picture. Feels good. Ben, you used to not have a beard, man. What the deal is?
Yeah, that's the thing with theater is they always, like, I'm almost always asked to shave because they want the jawline, they want the clean features, they want a blank slate. Like if I was the Beast with all the stuff that would have to go on my face, there wasn't time because even there were times where I went on in the middle of the show. They were just like, "Hey, Ryan just threw up, so you're going on." So if I had this, there wouldn't have been time to shave it. I had like 15 minutes to get
Fucking
into a
Ryan.
costume that it takes them an hour. Oh, he was a trooper. You would have not known that he was sick. He was so
Yeah.
good. I was scared shitless though. But yeah, that's the thing is when in theater and like I've had beards going into rehearsals and then shaved it for the show and the director or the choreographers, I was like, oh my God, Ben, you should never have a beard. So then when I made the decision to put theater on the back burner and really dive into coaching, I was like, well, shit, no one can tell me to shave now. I'm going to grow this thing. I'm going for a year. We'll see. I'm going to do a year and reassess.
Okay, so the beer's been going for a year.
It'll be a year, like August 18th or something like that.
Wow. Hey, it's just kind of neat. There's a lot of common ground in the Mace world. And you and I was in drama. I was in a couple plays. I have a beard. You have a beard. We both swing mace. My favorite character in Beauty and the Beast was Gaston, and I actually remember like finding out about you on Instagram because I am addicted to all things steel mace. So if somebody is new and swinging mace out there, I will find you. And I remember stumbling upon you, and like I met you back when you didn't have a beard and swung mace, and I got to see a little bit of your journey. And let me share a little bit of that with you. I've got just a couple things I want to share with the audience. So if anybody hasn't known, you can swing mace without a beard. Shown by our good friend, Jeffrey, the good looking, that's his new name. And also the Ben, which we just saw. All right. So good looking Ben. It's true. There's one out there. And so Ben, I did a deep dive.
Oh my goodness. This
And
is my first day.
that's your first day.
My first day.
That's your first mace.
Yep.
Well, not yours, but we'll talk a little bit about that. I know a little bit about your backstory, and let me just move this out of the way so everybody can see this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take. I pulled this clip from Instagram. You guys can find Ben at built by Ben underscores between all the words. And you guys can go and find this video. It took me a little bit to get to. I had to scroll way deep down. And here you are, 52 seconds of Ben.
Could be worse.
Ben, when you look at those first couple swings, what are you thinking about?
In that video, I'm trying to do it where it's really smooth and there's no pause. So where we normally pull it down to the belly button, I thought it was better to be able to skip that step and just go right into cycling 360s as opposed to swing. I wanted to be swing.
All right, we get it. You're a coach. We already talked about that. Tell me what the fuck you felt, Ben.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I think appropriate for this. Let's jog your memory just a tiny bit more.
Okay.
Ben's got a long history with the mace. I think it'd be best if we started here. I always ask the question, who put a mace in your hand? I have a backstory. Serena has a backstory. And I think you can talk about this picture a little bit and answer that question. Who?
Yeah, so
that's
my mentor, Jeff Butterworth. I always say to people, if I'm at RX and they walk in, they're looking for him. It's like, look for the guy who looks like Leonidas. You can't miss him.
Does look like Leonidas.
Yeah, and I met him while I was on tour. Actually, the guy who was playing Gaston knew him. I was like, yo, there's this guy. He's got this awesome gym. Let's go check it out. And we were in Boston for a week. We went there the first day we got there, and I was hooked. We did this ridiculous workout. There were tires. There were rowers, wall balls, sandbags, kettlebells, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I knew immediately I have to learn from this guy, because I recognized to get my personal trainer certification, all I had to do was read a book and take a test. I didn't know how to actually apply any of that. And I knew right then, this is the guy whose brain I need to get inside. So we closed the tour in July. A week later, I got an Airbnb for a month, walking distance from his gym, RX Strength Training. And I spent a month picking his brain. And that's where I actually learned how to be a coach. I like easily 75% of what I do now is grounded in what I learned during that month.
Beautiful.
And yeah, and one day I'd seen him on Instagram mess around with Mace, like he was trying to do alternating 360s with one in each hand or something like that. I remember thinking that looks crazy. And then I saw them hanging on the wall like a week or two in, and I was like, hey, what's that? What do you do with that? And the first thing he showed me was the 360, and I was hooked. He showed me that workout was like 360s and then barbarian squats with a step. So you walk all the way down the gym and then do Palloff presses and then do bayonet strikes, doing forward lunges back, and then more 360s. And yeah, I did that and like did it again later. And then I would go back to my Airbnb and I would daydream about the stuff I was going to do. And then it's funny just the way like where things have gone now, because he was like, yeah, there's this guy, he's a guy in Texas, it's ESIK 8 something. It's like, you got to check him out. And that's when like that was like my first introduction to someone else was watching ESIC. So then immediately I was like, well, where's more? What's more? And of course I go to YouTube, and of course after all those On It videos, is you in your front yard looking ridiculous. Just doing all these crazy things that I could have never comprehended. And that was where I really saw like, oh, there are whole other levels, other directions that you have to have a really active imagination to see.
Well, I think that will bring us actually to our next video. You know what I love about coaching, Ben? Like, you've been there with me at an education, and actually you're part of the Steel Mace Flow education team. But I love it when somebody asks a question to something that I'm going to talk about here in the next couple of minutes, because it means I'm telling a good story. So the next thing I like to talk about is, and bring up is the first flow I could see you do. All right. So just to kind of recap, you were in the acting business. You're still in the acting business. You still put on performances. That's a skill that will always stay with you. Whether you're coaching a class, teaching a student one-on-one, you're always on stage, and presentation is important. All right. You met your mentor, Jeff, and started swinging a mace. And at the same time, started growing a beard. If you look at that second picture, which I actually found from your Instagram too, and it really talked about you entering your mentorship. The exact story you just told me, that's on Ben's Instagram, and you can relive that. And then you found out about, I think this is funny because this is something I think a lot of us did, E-sick, right? When we first saw Eric's name, we didn't really know what to call him. I'm like,
yeah, I had no idea.
Asian guy? I don't know any Asian words.
Do people actually call him that?
Is his name Isaka? Is it like what? So I always just like spelt it E-S-I-K. And so that's how he was introduced to you. And hey, you found out not only are these moves that I can do with my coach, Jeff, and I've experimented and played and started growing this beautiful beard. But now your search for knowledge continued. Inspire, educate. What did Ben do for education? He did the trainer no. He went to Instagram. He went to YouTube. If you're not hip to taking in information from social media, it's time to evolve, my friends. There's so much great information out there. Ben on Instagram almost daily puts out quality work. His workouts that he does, So dive into your social media platforms. Mace trainers are at your fingertips. And that was something that Ben did. And you ended up finding not only Eric's moves, but found this guy doing weird shit in his front yard. Can you imagine what my neighbors think? I bet you can, because you're always swinging mace someplace odd. All right, been down memory lane a little bit. Time to bring another one up. After going through all your videos, you got to do that sometimes, folks. You got to just go down memory lane with somebody. There's so much neat stuff. Now, Ben, what you're going to notice here, if you look really close, there's a beard on this guy. You're also going to notice this guy right here. He's better at swinging mace than that first guy. Is it because he's wearing a beard? Probably. All right. I don't know that for a fact, but it could be true. So sometime later, you found Leo Savage. And actually, in this post, you said, hey, inspired by Leo and Eric, and here's all these neat things. All right. Let's take a look at this one. You know what I saw in that?
What?
I saw the diamond flow. You saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a hip hinge swing to a uppercut, and I saw some really groovy experimentation, and I saw constant movement and constant thinking. Kind of a different feeling. All right, Ben, I saw a big smile come on your face when we popped that one open. Tell me your thoughts.
Oh, it's cool because I can even remember I can remember planning that flow. But the thing is, before I did that, I had actually done my very first free flow where I actually let go. And I remember finishing and just putting it down, putting the mace down and going, whoa. And like I understood why you did it so much. I was like, that's what that feels like. That's awesome. I need to find that more. I need to do more of that. And that was really the beginning. I was taking them out to that spot in that park every day.
So your first free flow. So you moved the mace around, but like you found this like area of creation, and you went, wow, like it's so entertaining. Can you talk about maybe some experiences you've had? You know, I think about Ben being an actor, right? There's a predetermined role you're going to have to play. You're going to have to say these things. And then I think about your athletic background. This is exactly how you deadlift. This is exactly how you push. This is exactly how you pull. And then you have this new area where truly you can just do whatever you want based off of who you are as a person. And you found that to be very valuable. Do you think that's a valuable practice in general in life?
Oh, absolutely. Because when you find that flow state where you're completely in the moment, I mean, you can't describe it. I mean, it's so exciting to then come out of that and go, oh my gosh, that just happened. Because what's cool is even though, like when I was in a show, I'd be doing the same thing 8 times a week, saying the same words. I'd walk out on this line, walk around this table, leave on that line. But every now and then, because it didn't always happen, but every now and then me and my scene partner would be so in it, and one of us would do something completely different, and then the other one would catch on and do something else completely different, and it would build on top of that, and we'd come off stage and be like,
Creation
yo,
mode.
what was that? So that's the cool thing too with the Mace. Like even this morning, I was out in the park playing around, and I was doing stuff that I didn't come up with anything new, but I did stuff slightly different than usual, and that was even just that slight difference was enough to get me so amped up. And it's that same thing where you, even in this moment where a lot of actors are like, oh my god, I'm so bored, I'm doing the same thing over and over again. And some mace swingers are the same way too. Like I've heard people be like, oh my gosh, I always sword swing, or I always do step two, I don't know what to do. But then you have that one brief moment where you break free and do something else, and then that completely changes the foundation of what you're flowing from in terms of the patterns you usually use, and that builds off. So it's like you get an inch off, and then that just starts to grow. So you're going all the way over here in this area you've never thought of before.
So that's I'm glad you said that. That's something we get asked a lot as mace coaches. Hey, I'm stuck in flow. I can't get past this part. Just keep doing it. I remember talking to somebody who you're mentoring, Kyle Langdon. And he's like, hey, dude, I'm stuck in lateral lunge. I'm stuck in step two. I can't get out of it. I said, don't. Live in it. Find everything there is to be there. And, once you accept that, hey, I'm not going to move from here, well, you start to want to move from there. So some neat coaching advice is working your way out of it, and actually watching your video. And let me go back to this, because this is something that needs to be seen. I'm going to try and pause it at the right spot. Does the 360, does an outside pull. Okay, I think it's coming up right here. Boom, boom, boom. The look of curiosity. Where am I going to go to next? What's next? What am I going to do? And then discovery. So cool that you're doing the diamond flow.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's these moments where we just hit pause, and I always love telling the mace artist, flow the fuck down, go slow. So that way, while you're moving slow, you have more time to think through the move. Hey, what if I go this way? What if I go that way? Speaking of making moves, saw your first flow. You know what I noticed? A lot of open hands.
Yeah. I didn't know what pulling them apart. I didn't know what that was.
And so to say that you didn't know about adding anti-rotation to the mace, did you know about adding anti-rotation to the floor, ripping the floor apart?
I knew about adding it to the floor. I don't know that I always implemented it the way I should.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was a thing you did with the mace.
And then what about creating like a high tension field in the core, tucking the hips in, tucking the ribs in? Did you know about making that?
It's probably one of those things that I knew of, but didn't consciously think about. I wasn't always checking my hips.
Yeah.
In my moves or things like that.
So the anti-rotation in the floor are the high tension core. They're just things that are universal in fitness education. They're just rules that apply. But to have a magnifying glass on them and say, hey, these are some things. Now, I find those three things, if I want to improve somebody's flow, those are three things I love to throw at them, right? Technical wise, rip the floor apart, keep your core tight, rip the mace apart. And then, of course, flow the fuck down. Which, if we look at this next flow, I looked at all your stuff. This is the last video I could find of you flowing. Ben, you don't have a lot of flow videos, man. A lot of your videos are educational.
No. Yeah, that's I'm working on that.
But
because I've recognized that my
every now and then you bless us with something like this. But this is the beautiful thing, guys. Listen, Ben Walker is flowing, but at the same time, he is working on something. Ben has this thing where he says, my work is my play. Ben is in fact working, but it's so beautiful, it's so refined from flowing the fuck down, adding anti-rotation to your mace, ripping the floor apart, and keeping a tight core that you can't tell the difference. The well-trained mace coach can look at Ben and identify he's working on something, but to the untrained eye, it's just moving fluidly. All right, Ben, here we go. Hey,
Authenticity.
hey, it fucking happens, huh?
Yeah.
Dude, good work here, man.
Thank you.
So one of the reasons why I say you can tell that you're working on something is, well, you're going from left to right, right? So of course, maybe there might be some skill development, but often what that says to me is that somebody is working like maybe a set, right? And then the flow is advanced. You go from an over-under with two hands to a single hand. So there's your shield block, there's your over-under retreat, and to your Shaolin on the opposite side. I really like the way you have your shoulders turned there, Ben. Like this is really good technique. Even though if you look at the shoulder all the way into the elbow, it is a straight line. Just that straight line is sloped down. The hand position of the bottom hand, what I would like to see is for this hand to push up maybe into this hip, and then maybe you can just get a little bit more length here. Not that you have to, but just to add a longer, more beautiful line, because this elbow could afford to go up just a tiny bit.
Cool.
Beautiful technique. And not only are your lines looking beautiful, but your hand isn't grabbing the ball, which a lot of people do in Shaolin wrist. And then a really nice transition, which is difficult to do, to go from the Shaolin wrist into the Night Shield. You reverse back. I'm going to fast forward you. You're going super fast. Ooh, man, you must have had some coffee. And then, like, I love this. You know what, Ben? When I was doing, when I first learned moves, I learned the 360, right? That might have been your first move. And then I said, well, what if I could do this fucking thing with one hand? And that's a concept I still have. And this is one that you just applied. Can I do the over-under switch with one hand? And the answer is yes. And now I just want to state the obvious, all right? Out of watching all your videos, the last one's the best. And it's also the biggest beard. Do those things correlate?
In a way, they can. I will say, if there's any clean shaven men or women who swing mace, you are by no means required to grow a beard. For me, it's in line with the self-expression of the mace, because I realized in my theatrical career there were a lot of things I did with my facial hair, with the hair on my head, that was or other things like not getting it. I couldn't get tattoos or anything like that, which I still don't. Maybe I will, because they want, like, casting directors and directors want this blank slate. to work with. So there were some outlandish things that I wanted to do that I couldn't fully express because of the path I was on.
Yeah.
So the beard and diving full in with coaching and the mace go together because I'm expressing myself differently. And this beard is an expression of me. And I get to fully realize that now.
Yeah. And this is, I started growing my beard to rebel too. And come to find out a lot of people do, like when people get out of the military, growing a beard, police officers. I know Jay Rose from Phase 6, he started growing his beard to flip off the corporate American or corporate Australians. and, and see, you talked about self-expression, you're free. You can grow a beard, or if you wanted to, you could get a tattoo or shave your beard or get a haircut or go to a Viking Ninja certification. Ben, I know I have personal views on all the different mace places. But one thing I do know is that I'm not accepted in all of the different mace communities. Matter of fact, Steel Mace Flow is not accepted in a lot of the mace communities. In my personal opinion, Steel Mace Flow is the only flow organization that can be bullied. We've heard of men being picked on for dancing like women. We've been told that our work is going to hurt people. We have been picked on for expressing ourselves. No other mace group in the mace community has that problem. I, however, am not allowed in all the mace communities. You, Ben, you are. You're Onnit certified. You're Viking Ninja certified. What's the difference between all these different mace coalitions?
It's an imaginary difference, if anything. It's like a CrossFitter telling an Olympic weightlifter or a powerlifter that they're using a barbell incorrectly. I always tell people the mace is only limited by your creativity. And if the particular path of your creativity looks more like what you do, or look more like what Isak does, or look more like what Rick Brown does, like that, it's all under the same umbrella. So we're all working towards the same thing. We recognize that this tool can help a lot of people in more ways than just physical. Like everyone at some point, even if it's just for a second, has experienced like a mental benefit from this kind of training. So like any kind of divisiveness is ridiculous. Like there's no need for it. So I choose to not even give that vibration voice when I'm conducting myself. Is like I'm not gonna, like there's our, I mean, you said don't bring politics or religion into it, but at the very beginning. But the thing is, we're in a very divisive time. No matter what side you're on, we can all agree that this is a divisive time. So like we don't have space for any divisiveness. So I've been very purposeful in how I've been inclusive of everyone. And even if like the best insult is to be like your enemy. I've seen behavior that I disapprove of, and my way of combating that is to not be like that, to be inclusive of everybody, because it takes holding that vibration for then more people to join that vibration, rise to that vibration. Eventually that lifts all of us up, and that takes time and patience. But that's what I'm committed to, is the entire Steel Mace community.
So you would say that the lines drawn they're bullshit. They're make-believe. Somebody actually made them up.
Yes.
Somebody actually made up a division in the Steel Mace world. Ben, why do you coach for Steel Mace Flow? I mean, there's Viking Ninja out there. There's New Breed Mace Bell. There's the traditional system. You're one of the best Mace guys out there, and I'm sure.
Mhm.
Well, and I know you've had opportunities to work for other Mace companies. Why do you teach Still Mace Flow?
Because Steel Mace Flow is the one that will allow me to practice and teach the full spectrum of what I want to practice and teach, because I can improvise for 20 minutes with a 10-pound mace, and that's Steel Mace Flow. I can choreograph like 4 moves and do sets of 10 or 20 of those, or do them for time, and that's still Steel Mace Flow. And anything less than that full creative license would run counter to the entire path that I'm on right now, which is to work from inspiration. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I left theater, something that I dedicated myself to since I was 8 years old, almost 20 years, and then decided I want to do this anymore because I recognized an area where I was not working inspiration. So Steel Mace Flow is, of all the Mace, I don't even like to say factions, of all the pieces of the Mace community, Steel Mace Flow is the one that encompasses everything that I enjoy doing with the Mace.
Man, you said it right. Like pieces, right? Like even just saying factions, it puts in that there are sides. Um, Regardless if the leaders have made these imaginary walls, people still have picked sides. I know, for instance, one of our good friends, and I only bring this up because he's brought it up publicly. Um, Viking Ninja has blocked several of the Steel Mace Flow community just for purely swinging with flow. Now, as an ambassador for both sides, being able to eat dinner with Isik and myself, being able to train under both systems, being able to be friends and a voice for everybody. Um, what should that person do in this situation? What sense can they make of it? I know these are difficult questions, Ben, and I do ask you because I've always said this: you are one of the strongest of us, because in fact you can endure being pulled from both sides. Now, Ben, you actually said, hey, in Steel Mace Flow, it is the one art where I can do everything. But that's not entirely the truth. I'm going to drive a bus over myself. In Steel Mace Flow, we lead by great example, both in our successes and our failures. But it did happen at one time that I did ask you not to support Viking Ninja. And I did so out of fear. I'll tell you a little bit about that. Steel Mace Flow and Viking Ninja have been at it for a while, more one side than the other. There's this philosophy of hashtag no flow zone. We don't flow, don't flow. And that's affected the community in that people are confused on, if I go Viking Ninja, I can't go Steel Mace Flow. And if I go Steel Mace Flow, I might be blocked from the Viking Ninjas. Somebody in the middle of this conversation is very confused and they don't know what to do. What advice do you have for somebody who feels torn between both sides? Admittedly, both of them having faults.
What I would say is, because this has become what I've noticed in myself is that, and actually Danny pointed this out to me in a coaching call once, that I am a people pleaser, and you and Isik are the very kinds of people that I like to please. So then I'm not, if I try to please one of you, then like I'm going to pull myself apart, and I'm not going to be able to do my full expression because I might feel like someone might get upset by my full expression. So what I would
Yeah.
say to someone in that situation is to live your full expression of what you want your practice to look like. And ultimately, if if you get blocked because someone can't handle that, that's their problem, not yours. And like that's good. It means you stood for something. It means it's clear what you're passionate about. So like someone else is failing, to recognize that and look at something superficially and say, oh, I don't want to see that. Like that's then not worth your time. And ultimately it's really unconscious behavior. And this is something that I have struggled to fully implement in my life. And a lot of people do, I'm sure, is to recognize what unconscious behavior is, and then recognize that whoever is committing that behavior is sleepwalking through their life. And I've done some weird stuff when I've sleptwalked and not been blamed for it. Like you can't blame. I went scrabbling around on my mom's bedside table looking for pliers for my toenails one night. I don't know. But the thing is, like, she didn't take me to a mental asylum. She didn't take me to the doctor's like, oh, he's sleepwalking. It's fine. Just get into bed, Ben. It's fine. I was decidedly younger than I am now. So it's the recognizing that like unconscious behavior must be accepted for there to be not and accepted in the fact that you're not just getting angry at it and like wringing your hands at the unconscious behavior, because that doesn't do any good. You have to recognize it and do your best to hold a different vibration, because holding that is what's going to wake up the unconscious people. And it's so hard to do, and it's so frustrating. And I mean, I catch myself, I live in New York City. It's full of unconscious people, and I become one every time I walk out of my door. I make all sorts of I think awful things about people. I shove people out of the way when they're walking at me. It's like I do all those things. I slip up all the time, and the practice is recognizing when you do and going, that was unconscious behavior. I need to rethink that. And as frustrating as it is, you can't count on anyone else to do that.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you can do that as a person, as a member of this community, is to be the example for your leaders. Be the example of what you want to see in the community. And eventually, like that, any kind of divisive behavior cannot stand up to that kind of energy.
So be yourself. The people around you will self-select.
So far.
If they're on the same mission with you. And hey, Ben, I appreciate that, man. That topic's one that we never ever get into. I know I can speak for myself.
Yeah, it's really good to talk about.
I really like what the Viking Ninja people are doing and in what they teach. All right, now I don't believe in the philosophy of don't flow or no flow zone. But all in all, I do understand that they are doing what they think is right. They are teaching people a step-by-step way to exercise with the Mace that may not incorporate a lot of freedom, but neither does the military. I mean, you do what the fuck you're told, right? And I do respect and hope Isik and his team do very well, right? This isn't about putting anybody down. This is maybe about having some understanding about both sides. You know, Ben, when I look at what Eric does and I look at what I do, I have a personal view. If you were to take a picture of or a video of Eric flowing, and you were to take one of me right after, and you were to watch them back to back, what would you say are the things that are the same?
I would say it would be different styles of the same thing. Like it's in ballroom, you've got the foxtrot, you've got the quick step, you've got all these other different things that fall under the umbrella of ballroom dance. So I would say I can picture in my head what that video would look like, and I imagine it would be
But what you said is it's the same.
a set choreographed thing, and I would say exactly.
It's the same fucking
They're
thing.
really ultimately they're the same thing.
It's
The
same
same
thing.
fucking thing.
It's the same fucking thing. There's the truth. It's the same fucking thing, man. It's so stupid, man. You got these street gangs, right? You got the Bloods, you got the Crips. There's no difference but the color. Red bandana, blue bandana. It's the same fucking thing. And I just want to get that out there to the people. If you're pulling in between, making a decision, make the decision that best suits you, says the guy who has crossed both planes, Ben Walker. And when you're doing that, understand that you don't have to pick sides because they are in fact the same thing. Right on. All right, Ben, time for a little word association. Are you ready? Hero.
Sure. Hero. Superman. It's the first thing that came to mind.
Ben, I thought you were going to say me or something, okay? Let's turn this up a notch, okay? Coach.
Shane Hines. I don't know why people are coming to me, but they are.
Shane, just so you know, you said the same answer for the last two questions. Superman is Shane Hines.
Basically, Shane is Superman.
Strong coach.
Danny Rios.
Also Superman. Camera high five.
Boom. Absolutely.
Motherfucking Danny Rios, son.
It's like Superman and Gandalf combined.
All right. All heroes in my book. Let's talk about heroes. I think anybody can teach Mace. Matter of fact, I don't think I know so. I put out this Steel Mace Flow curriculum. It's selling all over the world. People are teaching Steel Mace Flow who have never thought about being coaches, like Brandon Meatbomb. Never thought about being a coach. He's amazing with the mace. Kyle Langdon. Never thought about being a coach. Amazing with the mace. I feel that anybody can learn the mace, and I feel like anybody can teach the mace. It's my personal opinion. But if you can learn from anybody, then that means who would you want to learn from? I've always encouraged, can you hear people mowing outside? No? All right. Hey, good headphones. All right. I've always encouraged the coaches of Mace Flow not to just be a person who teaches numbers and shapes, but to teach a little bit about life. I always tell my coaches to tell their story in whatever way it is, their hero story, I've shared with my Instagram fans and supporters my hero story. My hero story, it was a lot like Batman's and Superman's loss and having to deal with that and becoming a character to help fight evil, empower the people. Not all hero stories are from loss. Some hero stories are just amazing. What the fuck is your hero story?
Well, I've been fortunate to not be coming from the direction of having experienced a very crazy trauma in my life. Actually, I remember being at your first the Elmira, the first 2-day workshop, and you were saying, "Okay, everyone, tell why you're here." And I was one of the first people, and I said, "Oh, it's so fun to work out with this. I love it." And everyone else was like, "I got into it because of my demons," and I immediately felt very out of place. So, in terms of my hero story, I've recognized that being free, I mean, everyone experiences some trauma, but being free of sort of abuse or accident does give me a perspective that I'm able to then share with anyone who does have that trauma, because you can't put the fire out from inside the house. So I guess if I don't know where you're
Kind of broke up there, Ben. You still there?
a rock and a leader for the people. So what I was saying is, where I see myself in that is in how so many people can grow into heroes from their trauma, is I see myself as the guide for the in-between.
Mm-hmm.
In that, because I'm very lucky to not have as many stories and conditioning to find my way through, I'm able to help those who have.
Ben, it seems like creating your own freedom has been important. It's part of your hero story. You create freedom for people.
Mm-hmm.
The Strong Coach program, we'll talk about that a little bit. So, all right, back in the day,
Yes.
I was a Mace swinging maniac. Me and my partner Serena, we went travel around the country teaching people a little bit about this practice. And I'll be honest, we knew it was awesome and it helped heal people and there were all these magical things happening, but we didn't know what magical spells we were casting. Fast forward some time, Serena and myself, we got to teach Mike Bledsoe a little bit about Steel Mace Flow. That would spawn a relationship in which Serena, the Steel Mace Gypsy, would be in the beta program for the first ever Strong Coach class. I was super jealous. Serena got to take the program before me. I thought about joining the program, but I thought, hey, Serena should have this by herself. She should have a place she operates in. I noticed this huge change that happened in Serena, and I couldn't wait to jump into the second course. And it was in that second course that I learned about the magic spells I was casting. More accurately, it really helped shape the Steel Mace Flow program to be what it is today. You've graduated the Strong Coach program. You've helped mentor a couple coaches in the Strong Coach program. And what I'd like to know is a little bit about the Strong Coach program. Maybe just you can encapsulate that in whatever way it works out for you. And can you tie that in together with how you operate as a Steel Mace Flow coach?
Yes. So the Strong Coach program is ultimately it's 12 weeks to help you build the coaching business of your dreams. And the way we do that is by building the you of your dreams. Because the very first 6 weeks is all personal development. It's vision casting, it's goal setting, it's understanding your language, it's how to get right with reality, it's how to walk the walk with all of these things. So by building people into the kind of person who can have that, then guide people to that success. And then the second half is about your relationship with money and marketing, and how you can, now that you are a different person than when you started, how you're able to have a different perspective on those things. And the way the part that I find relates the most to Steel Mace Flow is the language and finding reality section of the Strong Coach. Because I've seen so many people, like clients, I'll have them do a flow where it's like, okay, it's the end of the workout, let's do, like, as a cool down, sometimes I'll have them do like a 2-minute free flow just to get all all the last bits of energy out. And there's so many, oh, that's wrong. Like, oh yeah, or I'll congratulate them afterwards, and they'll be like, oh yeah, it was okay. And it's like strong coach engage, and I'm immediately in there like, you were fantastic. Like, let's talk about what you did do correctly. And then two, with the strong coach, it's always like, okay, well, what do you want your life to look like? So when someone does something in a flow and they go, oh, that was wrong, 10 times out of 10, I respond, actually, that was really cool, and I'm going to take that now, and I'm going to use it. So it's this creation thing where you are, with Steel Mace Flow, you're creating your own physical practice. You don't have to look like Leo. You don't have to look like me or Serena or Jeff or Adam or Brandon or anybody. And then in the strong coach too, even like we get to money, and how do you charge what you need based on what you need, not based on what your competitors are charging. So not being compared, being like true to yourself. And that's where those two programs really come together, is the creation and being true to what your dreams are.
Well, but a strong coach, isn't it like a weightlifting class? Or do I got it fucked up here? Because
oh yes,
in order to be strong, you got to move heavy weight. And in order to be a coach, I have to teach you how to move a ball or some type of implement. That I got it fucked up. That's not what it is.
It's not what it is. Because someone who can,
maybe
someone who can. Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe moving weight. Maybe that's like the weight off your back or the weight off your chest. And being a coach, earlier we did word association, and when I asked you to name a coach, you named a hero. You named somebody you looked up to. A coach isn't necessarily the person who teaches you like a physical skill, although it could be. For me, growing up in athletics, I always had a coach. Every day I'd go to practice. My parents wouldn't go to practice. My coach showed up every day. Although it was a paid position and it was his responsibility, the fact that coach showed up every day and he over-delivered. He taught me a little bit about failure, and he taught me how to get out of failure. Every competition I ever had, my coach showed up. Now, these were different coaches throughout the years, but coach just has a different meaning to me. And so the Strong Coach program, it's just important to you guys to know, what Ben talked about. He said it's a 6-week development program. Guys, you got to pour into yourself before you pour out to other people, right? Hey, you do have to work with other people. You need to get the experience, but developing in yourself is important. You do not have to be a coach in a typical sense. If I move barbells, kettlebells, to be in the program of Strong Coach. The Strong Coach itself just made me a better human being, and all the people that I've seen go through it. And I really like the part at the end where you talked about, hey, it talks about fucking money. It talks about marketing. Dude, when you take the NASM course, they don't teach you. They teach you some cool numbers. They teach you some heart rates. You learn some vocabulary. But how the fuck do I get a client? Do I go stand by the guy waving a sign and swing my mace by him? Do I do a kettlebell by the wavy, wacky arm guy? What do I do? And in that course, it is a great practice to ask those questions, because you're really with some of the best minds. Fuck it, you're with some of the best minds in the world in that Strong Coach course. You get to have mentors like Ben Walker. Creation's super important in the Strong Coach program. It's very important in the Steel Mace Flow curriculum. I've come to find that whenever I'm introduced to failure, our people, or whether that failure is with me or with somebody else, the way that I put out that fire is to add creation. I've come to believe that creation kills failure. Can you talk about a time that you've killed failure with creation? whether it was a bill, a relationship?
I did it last week when I hosted my first steel mace class in Central Park. I've been
Yes.
trying. I've been trying since I got certified in 2017 to get my own steel mace class going, and I've had spurts. I've had hopes. I've had, oh yeah, sure, like this is totally going to happen, and it's just never happened. And I said, screw this. I'm done waiting. I'm not going to wait for someone to want this class. I want this class. I'm going to make it happen.
Mm.
So I put out a thing on Instagram and said, hey, I'm going to Strawberry Fields in Central Park. Give me $15. Let's do a class. And I sold it out
Dude, that's
by
how many,
creating my own damn class.
man, dude, this is beautiful. And all you did was use social media. We talked about the power of social media. The strong coach taught you a little bit about marketing. Hey, if it's not there, fucking create it. Here's some steps. What did you need to teach the class at the park? You needed Mace. You needed an Instagram account. What did you transport the Mace in?
Okay. So I found this old lady grocery cart. You can get them at the 99-cent store. It was like $35. I thought, yes, this would be great. It's got a bag on it. It's got 4 wheels. It's going to be so supported. It broke before I even got it to the train.
All right.
So if you can see right there, I have a dolly now.
All right.
That is weighted for 300 pounds, so that shit's not breaking. And
all right.
That's what I'm going to use. Because, yeah,
creation mode.
If my girlfriend Holly had not been with me to help me carry that around, I would not have made it.
Man, we talked about creation versus failure, and you brought up a couple different examples. Hey, I want a Mace class. I'm motherfucking going to create it. All right. It's something I've wanted for years. I'm just going to make it happen. Mace carrier brakes. Hey, I'm just going to create a new one. Right on. Thanks, man. All right. I'd like to ask you about some of your inspirations. Now, we talked about Jeff, so it wouldn't be fair to bring him up. Okay. Jeff Buttersworth, to be more exact. I'd like to ask you to name your favorite Mace artist in these different categories. Okay. Who is your favorite female flow artist? There's juggling going on.
Serena for sure. Well, I got to like cycle through them real quick. It's absolutely Serena because I can sense her style. There's always something unique about something she's doing, and I can always tell that it's coming from somewhere.
Okay, let's ask you the most inspirational female.
She doesn't talk about it much on social media, but my girlfriend Holly she's damn good. And I'm sure plenty of people who will listen to this saw your shot of her free flow at the CERT in Boston. And oh my gosh, I wish that we could have bottled up the energy from when she started and we'd save the world. It was amazing.
Man,
like I teared up. Yeah. I remember watching you couldn't take your eyes off her. You were just like, Serena, give me the camera, Serena.
Yeah.
And then in the background, you can see, I think it's Emily go like put her hands to her heart reflexively. Yeah. Like I've never, I can think of maybe like 1 or 2 times where someone's movement has affected me like that.
Yeah, man, that's a really powerful thing because you're around a lot of stage actors who I'm sure can move like a motherfucker. All right, and then let's talk about, and you can leave me out of this, okay? Who's your favorite male flow artist?
I go through flavors with this, and right now, I feel bad because I don't actually know his last name, but Steven, his tag is Bertrand Braun.
LeBron.
There we go. Yeah. He's a major inspiration for me right now. It's actually like I was actually thinking of him, Matt, Steel Mace Mads, and Zach Frankenlegs, especially recently.
You know what? Frankenlegs
those.
It's not fair to bring Frankenlegs up.
Oh yeah, he's
Can't
way
like,
way
how
outside.
Are you gonna fucking give that guy a gold medal? All right, he's from Canada. All right, the price is
ridiculous.
He's so good. All right.
It's been
who's your favorite
recently
swinger named Frankenlegs?
Yes.
Frankenlegs. There, gold medal.
It's this idea of I read it in a book that the meaning of competition comes from a Latin word competere, which means to journey together. Where the idea is, in order to find out how good you actually are, you need someone of equal skill to push you, to find out where your limits are. Yes. And I've been feeling that energy from the three of them recently, where it's like I see that and I go,
bro,
oh, I need to get on it. I need to go grab Piglet and we got to go outside right now.
You know what I'm saying, because bro? Me and you need to get better. Every time I open up my fucking Instagram, like, Stefan Brechen Braun, Still Mace Mads, Mace pick. Oh my God. All right. So he's your favorite Mace Flow guy. Who's the most inspirational Mace Flow figure, Mel?
Well, I mean, it's got to be you. I can't.
Well, you can't say me. I'm not allowed.
I can't. I'm not allowed to say you. I'm not allowed to say you.
I appreciate it.
It's I don't know that I can pick one.
Okay.
I've been pulling.
Hold on. Let me throw a curveball at you.
Okay.
They don't have to be good. Sometimes the inspiration is that day-to-day suck.
Trying to think.
I hope you don't call anybody out after I said day-to-day suck.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, well, shit. Now for whoever I say, they're gonna think that. Oh gosh. I'll have to then preface this with whoever I say is amazing. I'm sure. It's I can't say one, but right now I have to, I look at all of my clients inspire me.
Dude, hey, boom, stay right there. We talked about you answering the question, or saying something that we might have a question for later. All right. You said your clients. This is important. There's a lot of Still Mace people out there. We talked about inspiration. We talked about polarizing figures in the Still Mace community. We brought up the Gypsy. We brought up Holly, Stefan. We brought up Still Mace Mads. We brought up Frankenlegs. But the people who give us the most inspiration are our students. And while you can be the best Still Mace artist in the world, and this is the lesson I learned, it doesn't matter unless you share. Unless you're giving to empower the practice of personal development, you're holding on to it. I love that you said your students, and I'd just love to give you a second to talk about some of your students. I had this amazing opportunity to have you in the first education role, being part of the Still Mace Flow team. And we went back to your home where this all started, your first mentor, Jeff. The first Mace you learned was actually on the wall. The first time your students got to see you in a coaching role that was deemed educator. So there were a lot of firsts that all tied in together. And you had some students there. Ben, I got to work with your students. And I come to find that to be one of the most inspirational things. Ben, I don't care how good you can swing a mace. I've seen it. All right. I got a mirror. I got fucking eons of footage I can look through if I want to see some sexy mace swinging. Okay. I've seen it all, but there's nothing more beautiful than seeing one of my coaches or one of my friends or just a person out there, their students, because it really talks about the time and energy that has been put into those. But I can tell you this, if you're a Still Mace Flow person, time and energy are not enough. You need one more feel. You need love. There's a slow-mo of your students, a couple of them, getting their certification and the smiles on their face. Amazing. Beautiful stuff. I've got to share a little bit about my experience with you and your students, can you please share a little love, a little gratitude towards maybe a couple students that you have out there?
Oh yeah. In particular, John Foley and Alistair Biles. They were the very first class I ever did was at a corporate gym. We did it for 8 weeks. And then I left the corporate gym and they followed me. And that was spring of 2017 or spring of 2018. So they've been my clients for a year now, over a year. And what inspires me the most is watching them discover these new moves over and over again. Or like when John comes up and he's like, yeah, I was really working on this. Or when he says, oh yeah, that thing you had me do with the 15, I bought a 15 and now I can do it. And I get to watch Alistair grow in his confidence in his own practice. Because I mean, I think he'll be okay with saying this. He's one of the people where it's like, dude, that was so good. You have to own how good that was. And it's really cool. Like there have been a couple times recently where he's been like, yeah, that was really good, and I'm getting better.
Yes.
And to watching that happen from the two Mace clients that have had the longest is what keeps me doing this.
You know, man, I've had some dark times and some rough times, and whether that was like emotional or I'm broke or I don't have food to eat. I mean, having those students and those coaches have just really kept me going. You know, having people like you in my life, you know, Serena, the whole Mace family. So thank you for talking about your students. And we wouldn't be Mace people unless we talked about moves. Ben, what's your favorite move?
Ooh, night shield flow for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Talk
I don't
to
know
me.
what it is. Every time that's why that video you showed earlier is I'm playing with the night shield flow because like this is my favorite one. How many different ways can I get in and out of it? And I found those two.
Did you get to do the night fighter flow that I put up on live a while ago?
I don't think I saw a video of Frankenlegs doing it.
Yeah,
and I'm really into it. I love the step forward. I played around with some step uppercuts with some step forward before.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Anytime I hit that, it's like home base for me when I'm free flowing. And it's one that I use to demonstrate like how to start free flowing, where you do the night shield flow. It's like, okay, you've got this one word and like, oh, then you can flip your hand. You can do an uppercut or you can like change the speed and all of those things, working with using the night shield flow as the base to then build off of and build back down and out and down. And when I do the night shield flow, all of those things come so easy to me.
Yeah. You know, the way you set down into your lateral lunge is something beautiful. You do have a couple particular things you do. I thought you were going to say something with an uppercut because you have this particular way you do an uppercut. That's beautiful.
That's number two. I do love uppercuts. That's usually the first thing I put into the night shield flow is an uppercut.
Ben, that's awesome, man. I like that you said a flow rather than a move, right? So there's a lot of Steel Mace coaches out there, and a lot of Steel Mace flow coaches in particular who have this education, and they have questions like, well, how do I introduce this to people? What do I do with it? Do I teach flow classes for hours? Do I do reps? There's all these different schemes. A lot of times when people come into me and it's their first time in a class, they're there because they're curious, right? Maybe they saw something beautiful on the internet. Maybe they saw the night shield flow. Maybe they saw like you doing a sword swing pivot for reverse sword swing over under switch outside mill waterfall Ronin blade flow. That's actually a thing you can do. And they come in, they're pumped up. Hey Ben, I came to your class. I saw you do this crazy fucking thing. I want to learn some Steel Mace from you. If I show that person ballistic curls and switch squats, yeah, it'll give them a lot of information, but they came in here to see the goddamn Avengers. All right? I don't want to show them the Lego preview. I want to give them access to beautiful movement right away. Why? Because I want to start forming those identities. I want to put a mace in somebody's hand and teach them how to do a 360 immediately. The first move you learned how to do, the first move I learned how to do, the last move everybody teaches. Weird. I want to make them fall in love with it. I want to give them access to, oh my God, Ben, I feel like a warrior. What do you feel like, Ben? Do you feel in this unconventional world of steel mace that when somebody comes in off the street, because there's no right or wrong answer, should I show them the beautiful moves or should I show them the basics? You got one chance, Ben. I paid my $15. I came to Grand Central Park. Make me feel amazing.
Yeah. I do a combination where it's, I guess you could say, as far as I'm concerned, it's like a hamburger. It's like really good nutrition and it's going to taste fucking great.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right. That's what I go with, is like, cause like I start with something simple, like the switch march flow or the night shield flow. Those are usually the two that I start. Because I also find, especially the night shield flow, I can see it. That's the first one where people go, oh, I feel this. They can feel it when they do that. And I can tell when it happens because I look around the class and everyone's eyes are open, but they're not on.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a purple elephant could run through the park and they'd have no idea because their eyes aren't actually working. And to coaches out there, you don't have to throw the kitchen sink at them to get them to that.
Okay.
Like, a lot of us have done, maybe could have a story like, oh, the switch march flow, just step forward, step back, and squat. But that's not going to be interesting. Keep in mind, though, where you're coming from, having practiced mace for years, and where these people are coming from who have never done this kind of movement before. The switch march flow is going to blow their damn minds.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it does. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel to do this. You can hit them with switch march, 3-step, night shield. Those are ones that I use right in the beginning with people a lot because people get a lot out of it. They enjoy them. And they're also great ways of getting the basics in there, like the basics with sugar on top.
Basics with sugar. Listen, guys, no matter how good Ben looks with his shirt off, he does add sugar to his diet. It's just in the form of nice education. Ben, hey, this has been real good, man. I really want to thank you for being so open and so honest and talking about some things in the Mace community that we all need to know. Hey, I've got my Mace education. What the fuck do I do with it? Join a strong coach group. Hey, if you want to be a better human, talk to Ben. He's a great guy. He'll answer a lot of information about that. Hey, if I want to learn some steel mace, Ben Walker, he's got an online system. You guys can actually train with him online. You guys make sure you shoot into Ben's DM. Ben, is there anything else?
Or you can click the link in my bio and hop right on the phone with me. Click the link on my Instagram bio and book a call. Let's chat. We can chat mace. We can chat about what kind of life you want to build, your relationship with money, your stories, anything.
Right on. Hey, Ben, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining.
Likewise.
Down. Ben, see you. I'll see you in class, man. Bet you I'm going to see you pretty soon.
Oh, right? Yeah. You're welcome anytime.
All right, my guy. All right, guys, that wraps up another edition of Flow the Fuck Down. Man, hey, we covered a lot today. We covered the separation in the Mace community or the imaginary separation in the Mace community. We talked about Ben's hero story. We talked about Ben's heroes, his favorite moves, his favorite grooves, his first time swinging Mace, this most recent time swinging Mace. We talked about the things that inspire Ben and the people that inspire Ben. Guys, thank you so much for joining Flow the Fuck Down. Make sure to, I think I'm supposed to say like, share, and subscribe, but I'm going to tell you not to like, share, and subscribe, and to have your mom home by 10 o'clock tonight. We've got a hot date. My name is Leo Savage. Talk to you guys later.